The deepest, most explosive secret in the universe of relationships is this: the truth is a weapon, and its intended target is not the lie, but the comfort of the liar. You ask yourself the age-old question, the one that causes a 1,000-yard stare in every man who has dared to love, who has dared to commit. Why does she lose her mind when I tell her the honest truth? Not the diluted, filtered, softened version we are socially conditioned to provide, the one designed to shield fragile feelings from the sharp edges of reality. No, I mean the actual truth. The truth of perception, of reality, of objective fact. The answer, when you strip away the layers of emotional complexity, is startlingly simple and profoundly terrifying. Women do not want the truth. They want you to participate in their delusion. They want your submission, not your opinion, your conformity, not your integrity. When you inject reality into their fantasy world, they do not feel hurt. They feel betrayed because you have refused to sacrifice your sovereignty, your very perception of reality, on the altar of her emotional comfort. And that refusal, that single act of intellectual honesty, is the unforgivable sin in modern courtship and marriage. Let's begin where all men learn this brutal lesson, in the crucible of the trivial and the predictable. The infamous test: do these jeans make me look fat? Every nerve ending in your body screams, this is a trap. It is not a question seeking sartorial advice or a measurement of visual aesthetics. It is a psychological test of your obedience. She already knows the answer. She has consulted the mirror, the harsh lighting, the unforgiving angle for half an hour. She is not seeking information. She is seeking the relinquishing of your perception. Will you tell the truth and face the emotional and domestic consequences? The nuclear meltdown, the silent treatment, the tears that will inevitably lead to you being framed as a shallow, cruel monster? Or will you lie, betray your own eyes, and confirm that her feelings matter more than the fundamental law of reality? This is the core twist. Even if they do make her look fat and you say, no honey, you look amazing, she knows you are lying. She knows, but the lie is the currency of validation. The point is not that she looks good. The point is that you willingly compromised your integrity for her immediate emotional security. You have proven that her comfort is the highest value in your relational constitution, trumping truth, logic, and self-respect. That is the real validation she seeks, the proof of power. This game, which seems like simple insecurity, quickly escalates into something far more malignant: emotional terrorism. It is a system built on the principle, agree with my delusion or I will make your life hell. It's a transaction where you are constantly penalized for being a grounding rod to reality. Consider the man married 15 years, the sharp, successful entrepreneur who witnesses his wife let herself go. She asks, am I as pretty as when we met? He attempts diplomacy. You're beautiful to me, honey. Not enough. The question is pushed again. He, in a moment of catastrophic honesty, admits, you are attractive in different ways now. The result? 3 days of weaponized silence, a flurry of texts to friends about his cruelty, and veiled threats of divorce. The irony is grotesque. She is the one who has neglected herself, choosing comfort over discipline, but he is the villain for failing to maintain the illusion that time and neglect have no objective consequence. He is punished for acknowledging objective reality. This is not the behavior of someone who respects you as a partner. It is the behavior of someone who views your emotional world as a resource to be managed and whose primary function is to serve as her reflection, regardless of what the reflection truly shows. This dynamic goes far beyond mere appearance. It permeates every decision, every conversation, transforming dialogue into an emotional minefield of trap questions. If I died, would you remarry? Say yes, and you're deemed insufficiently devoted. Say no, and you're lying, which is a different form of unworthiness. Do you think my friend Sarah is attractive? Say yes, and you're a lustful dog who wants to betray her. Say no, and you're a liar who secretly fantasizes about Sarah. These are not real inquiries. They are emotional landmines designed to test the limits of your loyalty, your obedience, and your fear. The perverse enjoyment they derive is in watching you squirm, in seeing how far a grown man will go to navigate the emotional chaos they have manufactured. It is pure, simple psychological power, the ability to make a man afraid of words, afraid of his own thoughts, and afraid of the simple, clean, unsullied truth. This conditioning is deeply rooted in how society has programmed both men and women. Women are raised in a culture that insists their subjective emotional experience is a superior form of reality to objective fact. "You are perfect just the way you are," is the mantra, even as they look in the mirror, acknowledging their own flaws, their lack of discipline, or their poor choices. They then outsource the cognitive dissonance to the man. "Tell me I'm beautiful" is a plea for you to help them avoid the fact that they've let themselves go. "Tell me you love me" is a demand for you to help them avoid facing their own unlovable or manipulative behavior. And society validates this transaction, codifying it with maxims like "happy wife, happy life," and "the woman is always right." We have, consciously or unconsciously, built a culture that elevates female emotional comfort to a supreme value, demanding that men sacrifice truth, logic, and self-respect to maintain that comfort. But this sacrifice carries a staggering cost that is rarely discussed. Every single time you lie to protect her feelings, every "yes, the essential oils business will succeed," every "no, I wasn't looking at that other woman," every "your mother is lovely," you are not just lying to her. You are eroding a piece of your own integrity. The philosopher Ayn Rand explored this concept, the demand that one betray their principles as the ultimate proof of devotion. Women do not want you to think they are beautiful. They want you to say they are beautiful, even when you don't believe it, because that proves they have power over truth itself in your mind. Years of this emotional warfare turn men into shadows of themselves. They lose the ability to access their honest opinions, their perceptions warped by the constant, reflexive calculation of which answer will cause the least emotional harm. They become programmed to prioritize female feelings over their own perception of reality, a state of philosophical cowardice. Take the example of the small business venture. A wife sinks $5,000, then $10,000, then $20,000 into a demonstrably failing endeavor. The husband, with an MBA and years of business sense, knows it is doomed. But when she asks, "Do you think my business will succeed?" he responds, "Of course, honey, you're doing great." Why? Because she has trained him that honesty will be punished. He is a rational actor who has learned that conflict avoidance is superior to truth-telling in this specific relationship dynamic. And when the business inevitably fails, who does she blame? Him. "Why didn't you tell me it was a bad idea?" Because you see, you trained him not to tell you the truth. You punished the honesty and rewarded the lie, and you are now shocked that your partner has become a liar. The insanity of this female communication style is its duplicity. They demand honesty, but punish it viciously. They weaponize vulnerability. They use a moment of emotional intimacy, a shared fear, an admission of attraction to another, a genuine complaint about a friend, as ammunition in a future fight, often months later. Every truth becomes a future bullet in her emotional gun. The widely accepted myth that women are better communicators is, in this light, a profound lie. They are not better at communication. They are simply better at emotional manipulation disguised as communication. Instead of stating, "I feel insecure about my body," they employ a trap question. Instead of saying, "I need reassurance," they create manufactured drama. They do not state their needs directly. They expect you to be a mind reader, a decoder of emotional chaos. When a man is hungry, he says, "I'm hungry, let's get food." When a woman is hungry, she says, "I don't know, what do you want?" Followed by the endless vetoes, the passive-aggressive sighs, and the ultimate petulant conclusion, "Fine, whatever, I'm not even hungry anymore." This is not superior communication. It is a refusal of responsibility, an expectation that her partner will navigate a self-created emotional minefield while she provides zero actual information. The man's supposed emotional unavailability is not a character flaw. It is a rational, calculated, and necessary survival response to this emotional terrorism. Men are not born this way. They are trained this way by mothers who punish brutal, unfiltered honesty, by girlfriends who weaponize vulnerability, and by wives who demand lies disguised as support. When a man finally checks out, when he retreats into silence, providing the "yes, dear," "you're right, dear," and "whatever you want, dear" agreement, it is not a sign of weakness. It is learned helplessness. He has learned that engaging honestly leads only to prolonged punishment, that silence is safer than truth. Nothing can't be used against him. Nothing doesn't start a 3-day fight. Nothing doesn't end up screenshot and sent to the sisters' group chat. His silence is emotional strategy, a protective barrier erected against the certainty that any shared truth will be used as a future attack vector. This toxic dynamic invariably destroys genuine intimacy. Real connection, the kind that sustains a decades-long partnership, requires the ability to share your actual thoughts, feelings, and experiences without fear of reprisal. But when every truth is punished, when every honest expression invites emotional violence, intimacy becomes impossible. The couple is reduced to two strangers playing pre-approved roles, co-conspirators in a mutual delusion, wondering why they feel profoundly lonely in their own marriage. They feel lonely because they are not actually connecting. They are performing a highly edited script where truth is not the foundation, but the enemy. The solution, for men caught in this trap, is simple in concept but brutal in execution. Stop playing the game. When she asks a trap question, refuse to answer the premise. That is a trap question designed to test my loyalty, and I will not engage with it. When she demands you validate a delusion, decline. I'm not going to lie to you, and I respect you too much to participate in that charade. And crucially, when she punishes you for honesty, when the tears start, when the anger flares, do not apologize, do not cave, and do not retreat. Hold the line. I told you the truth because I love you and because I have integrity. If you cannot handle the truth, that is your problem, not mine. This requires the single quality that the modern social contract has systematically shamed out of men: backbone. The willingness to watch a woman have an emotional meltdown, to withstand the accusations of being unloving or cruel, and to not apologize for speaking an uncomfortable truth. The integrity to maintain your perception of reality, even when honesty costs you your peace, your comfort, or even the relationship itself. Because here is the final, essential paradox. Women do not actually respect the men who cave. They might get what they want in the moment, the temporary validation, the cessation of their emotional pain, but they lose respect for the man every single time he sacrifices his core integrity for their temporary comfort. Deep down, they know they are being manipulative. They know they are being irrational, and every time you submit, their attraction wanes. They trade a man who respects himself and the truth for a lying lapdog. And then they wonder why they feel no security or passion with the man they've created. The system is rigged, designed to punish self-respect and reward intellectual servitude. The modern dating market is flooded with women who have been told by every cultural avenue that their feelings are facts, their delusions are valid, and their emotional manipulation is empowerment. Then, they scratch their heads and wonder why they cannot find a real man. Real men exist. They are simply no longer interested in entering a relationship where truth is the villain. Honesty is punished, and emotional equilibrium is achieved only through the mandatory adoption of lies. The only winning move is to choose reality, to choose your integrity, and to stand firm, regardless of the emotional cost. Live in truth, even if it means dying alone. For dying in a lie is a slow, soul-killing oblivion. The truth is not just about what you say, it is about who you are. And if she truly loves you, she will eventually realize that the man who refuses to lie is the only man worth having. The one who demands the lie is the one who will eventually be left with it, and nothing else.